is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Ty here from Ty Drives for yet another review and test drive. Here we have the 2023 Audi Q5e. And for those of you who don't know what the Q5e is, it is a gas-electric hybrid. So it is actually a plug-in hybrid that you get a little bit of driving range on full electric and the rest with the gasoline motor. So really cool, kind of rare Audi to take a look at today, and in a pretty neat color combination too. We have the district green and beige interior, and this is also a premium plus model. So let's dive right into it with the details, starting on the exterior here. We will kind of make our way through the whole entire vehicle. After the exterior, we'll pop the hood, see what kind of powertrain we're working with. We'll then open the trunk, see how much storage we have, and then we'll get into the interior. We'll start with the rear seats and make our way forward to the front seats. But you're going to want to make sure to stick around to the end of the video, because I'm going to strap this GoPro to my head and we're going to see what it's like to drive the plug-in hybrid Q5. But first things first, headlights. We have full LED units for all trim levels, for both the high and low beams. We also have LEDs that power the turn signals and daytime running lights, so it looks very nice, all illuminated up there. If we take a look down below, we have some pretty cool silver accents. You will see the silver accents around the vehicle. Sort of black optic package is available, which will black out all of those trim pieces as well. But down here we have some of that silver and a couple of sensors. The smaller one is for the parking sensors, and you'll see a couple of those spread out throughout the front and rear bumpers. And we also have a larger one for our adaptive cruise control. Now we also have a 360-degree view camera system. You see one of the cameras right below the Audi rings. So, pretty good looking front end, a little bit classy, a little bit sporty. I'm really liking the looks of this Q5e. We have a nice sort of almost clamshell style hood, very wide with some pretty prominent creases that fade into the headlights and grille. And we have these very nice looking 19-inch silver painted wheels, kind of sporty looking. We have sort of this silver paint on the inside and the machine finish to the face of the wheel, and some pretty big brakes on this vehicle too. Looking down the side, we have some more silver trim down below the doors and all around the windows. Now I just washed this vehicle because it's a little bit dirty coming off the truck, so it is a little bit wet. Taking a walk around the side, we have the mirrors which have turn signals in them, as well as blind spot warning on the inside of the mirrors, as well as an extra camera for that 360 view. We of course have the proximity sensors for the locking and unlocking. So we have the button here, I should say the smart key entry system for the lock right here, and then we just put the hand behind the handle to unlock. And up here we do have a couple of more options in addition to that premium plus trim level. We have navigation package for an extra $1,500, and we also have the warm weather package, which is very nice. We'll get into those details in just a bit. And again, that smart key entry goes for all four of the door handles. Now, on the driver's side, we have the plug for the plug-in hybrid system. If we round it out back, we have a nice spoiler with the shark fin antenna and the silver roof rails with the panoramic sunroof. And going along with the LED front lights, we have LED rear lights, as you could guess. Nice dynamic turn signals, again, looks very nice, all illuminated. Some more silver trim right below the tail lights, and also kind of right above the sort of faux exhaust tips we have. So again, rear parking sensors back here. We also have the trunk release and the rear view camera as well. And overall, just a nice combination of sporty and classy in this vehicle. What do you guys think about the styling? Let me know in the comments. So popping the hood on the Q5e reveals a pretty familiar 2-liter turbocharged inline 4, which comes on the regular Q5. However, in the Q5e, we have an addition of a small electric motor and battery pack. Combined power output is pretty darn good, and it is SQ5 levels. So we have 362 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, which makes this car pretty fast, and we will check out the acceleration once we take this car out for a drive. We also do have, of course, standard quattro all-wheel drive and a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission for the drivetrain. Now, I did film a video devoted to the sort of normal Q5, and if you'd like to go and check out my channel on that vehicle, be sure to do so. Alright, so of course we have a powered liftgate standard on all Q5s as of 2023. And we do have a lot going on back here, and I'd like to point out everything. So, first of all, we have crossbars, which are a very nice option. We also have the charging cables in this larger bag. We have carpeted floor mats, all-weather floor mats back here, and we also have a cargo shade that will extend to here to hide all your goods. We also have these little handles here, which will fold down the rear seats in sort of a 60-40 fashion. But as you see, you can fold down the center portion, so truly it can be a 40-20-40 split, or you can just have the center portion folded down as sort of like a ski hatch. We also do have grocery bag hangers to either side and LED illumination to either side. We have cargo tie downs, our net pockets to either side too with our wheel locks kit, and just a pretty good amount of space back here. As you can see, it fits the whole entire crossbar set, so that is pretty nice. Once you're done getting all your goods out of the trunk, you can see we have one more light to illuminate the ground where you're standing, and we have two options, one to close the trunk and lock the vehicle, and one to simply just close the trunk. Alright, let's make our way into the interior, and we can first start off with the rear door panel. Very nice materials back here. We have soft touch up here, also this beautiful Atlas beige leather right here with the contrast gray stitching. We also have some pretty light wood up here too, and part of the warm weather package. We have sunshades that you could pull up like so. Also part of the warm weather package is the nice seats that we have. So nice deviations in the seats, also piping and more of that stitching back here. So just take a step back so that you can see the rear seats, and just very nice quality to them. Now, to fold down the rear seats, we have this little handle right below the cushion, and that will kind of fold down, and if you push it down even more, it'll kind of lock it into place. So it is a true flat folding rear seat. We have a couple of other things we can fold down before we hop inside, and that is the center pass-through. So we have this little button right here next to the headrest. You push that in, and that will fold down to get sort of longer items in and out of the trunk if you still need passenger space back here. One more thing is the center armrest. We can fold that down, and once it's down, nice and soft, and we have a couple of cup holders that pop out as well. So, climbing in, I am 5'10", and I have sort of adjusted the front seat to a normal driving position for myself, and I do have a nice couple of inches, I'd say at least 3 or 4 inches of legroom sitting behind myself, so just sort of a frame of reference. Back here we do have a couple of air vents down here and also below the seats. We have our own temperature control for the rear, so we do have a 3-zone climate control in this vehicle. Heated seats are only available on the Prestige trim level, so just keep that in mind. We also have 2 USB and 12-volt charging back here too. We do have a pretty large drivetrain hump, but there is a pretty good amount of room back here, so if you had to sit a third person in the center seat, they would be somewhat comfortable, I would say. We have LED illumination back here as well as grab handles, and we also have a pretty large panoramic sunroof, which you can see in conjunction with the headliner. It lines up very nicely. Alright, so let's get to the business end of the Q5e, and that is the driver's seat. Let's check out the driver's door panel first, and then we'll move over to that. A couple of additional controls that we don't have out back are the 1 and 2 for the memory seats that the driver has. We also have powered child locks for the rear too. All of your windows are one touch up and down. Power folding and heated mirror controls up here too. And then we also have releases for the gas door. And then we also have a release for the trunk door. 19 speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system for this vehicle, part of the Premium Plus trim level. It's now standard on that trim level, which is very nice. Pretty good amount of storage in the door too. And if we take a look up here, you can see where the blind spot warning indicator is on the mirror. Left of the dash, we have some more wood accents. All of your lighting controls too. So we have our front and rear fog lamps, all of your normal lighting controls, and your gauge dimmer that pops out. You can also see over here from this angle the tilt and telescoping knob for your steering wheel. It is all powered, and we do have a little bit of a storage tray to the left of the dash. Our pedals down here and the trunk release as well. And take a look at these seats. Very beautiful soft leather with the deviations in the middle. And we almost have this sort of sport looking seats with some pretty big bolsters down here. As far as adjustments go, we have 4-way lumbar, and the rest of our controls are also powered with the addition of the thigh support, which is manually adjusting. Pretty normal Audi key fob for the Q5e. We have a lock, unlock, trunk release, panic alarm, and then we also have 2 buttons on either end towards the bottom, which you could kind of pinch simultaneously, and a physical key will appear in case you need to use that. We of course have the push button start right down here, and since this is a plug-in hybrid, if you have enough electricity stored in the battery, you won't hear the gasoline engine turn on until it really needs to. So as you can already notice, the gauges in the Q5e are just a little bit different than in the regular Q5. We'll get to that in just a second. Take a look at this steering wheel. Very nice, smooth leather with the stitching on the inside. We have all of our virtual cockpit controls right over here, and sort of all of your media controls over here. So we have the up and down for volume, back and forth for different songs. We have the voice commands and Bluetooth telephone controls, and the heated steering wheel, which we'll want to turn that on today. It's a little bit chilly. We also have paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel, which are pretty welcomed. I have a lower stalk for our adaptive cruise control, and the upper for your automatic high beams, your turn signals, and also a button at the end to turn on and off your lane guidance. We also have another stalk, of course, to control your front and rear wipers. All right, so virtual cockpit time. So yeah, again, the gauges are just a bit different than your standard Q5. Replacing the tachometer is sort of a percentage of power gauge right there, and it'll kind of show you how much power you're using. You also have a little boost mode there in certain times where you could kind of use that full amount of power. And then once you're on the brakes, this does have a slight regeneration system for the braking. The needle will kind of move down into charge, and it will kind of recoup some mileage for the electric engine. Otherwise, we can press the view button here at any time, and you kind of see more information. Pretty cool thing when you're driving the Q5e, it'll kind of give you a representation of what is driving the wheels, whether it be the electric motors, or I should say motor, or the gasoline motor. We can also scroll down to see different screens, one for your range. So you kind of have a total range, and then a gasoline only range, and then a sort of electric only range. So that's pretty cool. We have our average and real-time consumption, both for your electric motor and gasoline motor. Same thing for your short and long-term memory. And we have our driver's assistance screen and also traffic sign representation. We can scroll over so you can see you have a audio screen, phone, as well as the navigation screen. And then again, at any time you can press the view button, and what you see in the center will get larger or smaller depending on what you like. We'll keep it up on this screen since there's lots of pretty cool colors going on here. Taking a look up top, we have a pretty nice soft to the touch dash. And take a look over, we have a large speaker with your defroster up there. And that brings me down to our infotainment screen. So we do have this as sort of a home screen. We have a radio, telephone, nav. Shortcuts over here to the left, and we can also pull down from the top to get our garage door openers and also adjust the tone for the audio system. So there's quite a bit of customization. We can individually adjust the subwoofer, the surround sound, 3D effect, and all that good stuff too. Take a look over at the radio screen. Once you press on a channel, it'll kind of come up with all the information, and we also have all of our different sources up here. We have our media, phone, and navigation. Once again, we have the map that pulls up, and then we can also click on that to input a destination. Down here we have the phone app screen, which has to do with the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which is all wireless. We have a vehicle information screen where we can pull up our drive select. So we have a couple of different driving modes: off-road, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. In individual, you can kind of customize a few different things if you like. Going back, we have a vehicle data screen, which is pretty neat. It'll kind of show you kind of like a bar graph to show your split between combustion engine and electric motor. Same sort of thing going on here. And then we also have a energy flow. So once you're driving, it'll kind of show you, like the little screen in the center over here that I showed you, kind of show you what is going on with each motor. And then a sort of potential range. If we kind of turn the steering wheel heating off, or turn the seat heating and the air conditioning off, it'll potentially give us an additional mile of electric driving range. So that's pretty cool too. We have a charging screen over here, which we could click on. It looks like, so this will kind of give you an update on the charging, and then we can also sort of adjust other things with our electric driving mode. We have our air conditioning, lighting, and visibility. We have all of our interior lighting, which we can raise and lower. And we also have our driver's assistance screen over here, so you can see what kind of driver's assistance we're working with on this particular vehicle. And we also have a screen for servicing and things like that. We also have our regular settings over here, so our general settings, things like that that you can go into. Wi-Fi settings, navigation settings, all kinds of different stuff. Over here we have a couple of different users you could set up. So if you have multiple people using this particular car, you kind of adjust their settings and save them in that user screen. Other than that, we pretty much have like weathers and different apps we could download of the vehicle and things like that. So pretty easy to get used to screen. Right below we have our hazards button and a couple of air vents. A nice bit of wood that continues onto the passenger side, and a very simple climate control. So we both have heated and cooled seats for both the driver and passenger. Our temperatures are adjusted right here with these two knobs. Our defrosters over here, recirculating and off for the climate control. And then we can adjust for both the driver and passenger where you want the air to come out. Again, that's for driver and passenger. We have all of our AC controls over here, the fan speed and the different zones. We could sync the temperatures and then kind of set the rear temperature as well from up front. Down below we have a couple of toggles we could choose here. We have a quick drive select mode, kind of put the car into an EV electric only mode. We can also turn on and off the traction control and also bring up the parking sensors and parking cameras. So let's take a look at that. We have the front wide angle view up here, and then we can also have a front regular view, sort of a top down, and that'll kind of toggle the parking sensors view over there. We have a rear view, a wide angle rear view, and then front and rear wheels, because you definitely don't want to curb these nice wheels. So pretty advanced camera system on this vehicle too. Not quite as advanced as the upper end vehicles such as the Q7, Q8, things like that, but plenty of different camera views if you ask me. We also have a hill descent mode and also a button here to turn off that upper screen if you'd like. Start stop button right over here, and a little illuminated pad right here, maybe to put loose change and things like that. USB and 12-volt power outlet down here. We have some more wood accents and some gloss black down here. A little bit more storage right here in front of the shifter. So we have straight down for drive. Once you're in a drive, you have two sort of selections. We could either bump it down like so and put the transmission into a sport mode, or we could also bump it over like that and switch the gears manually, either down here or with the paddle shifters. And then we also have straight up for reverse. Of course, that activates a reversing camera 360 view, and the parking sensors. And then we just press P for park. We have our electronic parking brake over here. And up here we have the volume knob. You can also double as a skipping for your different tracks. We have a nice little storage tray right here to put pencils, pens, or your key. A couple of cup holders right behind the shifter. You can lift up the center console and see we do have a USB-C inlet and some storage down here. The passenger area, we have a lockable glove box. It's all felt lined, illuminated. We also have pen holders and whatnot in there. Up top, we have a nice tan headliner and the visors that fold down with a mirror and light. Now we'll kind of put back the sunshade. We have the sunshade and then the sort of glass portion of the sunroof. We can slide or tilt. We have a bunch of illumination and sort of SOS emergency controls and things like that. The tap lights. And once the sunshade is completely open, we have a very nice large panoramic sunroof that again you can either tilt or slide open if you like. But that pretty much does it for all the features of the Q5e. Let's get it out on the road and see how it drives. Time to go for a drive in the 2023 Q5e. So, we are going to start off in comfort mode, which will kind of bounce back and forth between full electric and hybrid driving. Kind of the whole idea of this car is to, you know, get your miles in around town where you don't need a whole lot of power in full electric driving, since you can get just about 23 miles on full electric driving. And then once you get out on the back roads or the highway, then the gasoline engine will kick in and you'll have plenty of power and still get great fuel economy. You know, I actually got one of these used in, and one of the average fuel economy on the trip A was over 40 miles to the gallon, just over 40 miles to the gallon. So that is awesome for any SUV to be getting 40 miles to the gallon. So yeah, we'll be changing between comfort and dynamic throughout the drive, and I'll be sure to let you know when we do so. But let's get a good turning circle test in on here, because some of you viewers are from the city, and that is kind of important. Yeah, pretty good turning circle. So if you're in and out of the city, or maybe even live in the city, you'll have no problem with getting in and out of parallel parking spots and tight areas and things like that. Now, when the vehicle is in full EV mode, you'll have two ways of knowing so. You have a little indication on the bottom of the your sort of percentage of power in the gauge cluster, and this light will also be illuminated right here. And once the gasoline powered engine is up and running, we will have a different symbol, which I will show you when that happens. So yeah, nice and quiet acceleration under small amounts of load, and it's just very, very quiet in here. You know, you don't hear a bother of any gasoline motor humming or anything like that. Not that this is a loud gasoline motor. You can barely even tell when it's running, but still. Just the idea of a plug-in hybrid is a very, very great idea. You know, you can only almost use it as sort of a stepping stone if you're not sure if you want an electric vehicle. So you kind of use this car and say, hey, you know, I'm going to drive it around as much in electric driving as I can, just to see how much I like it. You know, plugging it in and out every night after you get home from work or whatnot. And you know, and if you really don't like it, then you don't ever have to plug this vehicle in. You can run purely on the gasoline motor, and the sort of regen on the brakes will kind of give you a little bit of mileage. Now, I personally actually think that until electric vehicles get better with the range and charging times and things, this is where it's at, plug-in hybrids. So we're going to turn onto this back road and we'll get a good acceleration clip. Now we put it into dynamic, and the transmission is already in sport mode, so we'll get it up to 25, set up master throttle, and see how fast we can accelerate here. So we're at 25, and we'll see what we can do. Wow, so this is actually pretty impressively fast. So yeah, I mean, under the hood, I did tell you guys that we have these pretty much the same power figures as an SQ5 would, with a turbocharged V6. Here we have it with a hybrid turbo 4-cylinder. Now, I do miss the sound of that V6, but it does put just as much of a smile on my face, with also getting probably double the gas mileage of that of an SQ5 would. So I would say it's just about as fast as an SQ5, but again, doesn't sound as good, but you'll probably get, you know, about double the gas mileage of an SQ5. Now, this Q5e does have some level of sort of a one-pedal drive. When you let go of the gas pedal, it will result to sort of pressing down on the regen brakes for just a little bit, but the rest of the braking is up to you. As you can see, that gauge goes on to the charging mode. And as with any car that could run solely on electric power, they have this sort of strange droning noise that comes from a speaker on the outside of this vehicle. This is no exception to that strange noise. It's kind of this futuristic sort of Star Trek noise that the vehicle emits at lower speeds. The lane keeping assist is also doing a pretty good job at keeping me within my lane. You can have a small visual down here, and when those two lanes are lit up at the bottom of the speedometer, that means the car has detected the lanes on both sides and will help you keep within those lanes. If you do happen to get close to the outside, or you are outside of your lane, it will gently steer you back in, and kind of one of those lane markers will turn red. So that's kind of how the lane keep assist works. So the tires are cold, of course. You can't really get a good feel for the handling, but I can tell you it does corner decently well with not so much body roll, which is good. Yeah, not too bad of a handler around the corner. So we can put it back into comfort mode so we can get an evaluation of the suspension comfort. Now, as you see, a lot of this road is sort of patchwork, and not very good patchwork at that, but that gives us a pretty good evaluation of the suspension, and already I can tell you it is pretty comfortable. We do have some on the smaller end of 19-inch wheels with some pretty decent sidewalls on the tire, so that does definitely help out. And just the Q5 in general is definitely set up for a more comfort-oriented suspension. Very comfortable seats in this vehicle too, I have to say. We have the four-way lumbar and also the thigh extensions that helps out with the comfort of the seat. Now, one thing I would like to mention too is with a plug-in hybrid comes a little bit more weight than a gasoline car. Because think about it, you have the electric motor, which produces lots of weight. Those are pretty heavy. And we also have a battery pack, which, granted, this isn't a very big battery pack, but it is still there in its additional weight. But you really don't feel the additional weight on this car. Like, it doesn't feel really heavy like a full electric car does, which is a good thing to report back on. But yeah, just driving along at 40-45 miles an hour, it is just very quiet in here with that electric motor humming. And you really don't get a lot of wind noise, barely any tire noise at all. You know, just a little bit of wind noise from the mirrors and obviously the cars passing by. But very impressive sound levels in this car. And again, once that gasoline motor is kicked on, which it really hasn't at all throughout the drive other than when we put it into the dynamic mode, you can barely tell it's even running because it's not that loud either. So coming up on our final turn, we'll give it a little small acceleration coming up the hill here. You can hear that humming of the electric speaker there. So yeah, not too bad of an acceleration there with just putting the foot down a little bit. So just rolling back into our little filming spot here, one thing I do have to tell you is, one thing I just noticed on that acceleration we just did, the gas pedal will actually give you a little feedback when you're accelerating. So it'll kind of give it a little bit of a stop as when you reach the max acceleration of the electric motor. And then you kind of press the gas pedal down a little bit more, you'll get past that stop and the gasoline motor will kind of activate itself. So really pretty neat feature that I've never noticed on the Q5e, but I kind of like that feature and I'm pretty welcomed. But overall, very nice car, this Q5e. I really do think that this could be potentially the future of the automotive industry, since we do have the electric motor for around town city driving, which is where most of the air pollution is. And then once we get out on the highway and the back roads, we have that gasoline engine with the 2.0T, plenty of power, and it's actually kind of fun to drive because this thing is pretty fast. But thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed the 2023 Audi Q5e just as much as I have. And I also hope you stay with us here at Ty Drives for more videos just like this one.